Hey, I am excited to be here for you today for one reason and one reason only. As we always know that live happens. I'm Lion Flood and I am your video content coach, and I'm going to show you a little bit more of how easy it is to use Ecamm. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I was getting some questions from the past tutorial videos. Make sure you go check them back out. And people were like, well, how can I use that with my system? It seems so complicated. It seems so overwhelming. So I decided to make a Bones Bear Scratch video today in which I'm going to show you everything without any overwhelmingness on my screen. So I'm going to show you the back end of my screen. The only thing I have that's really not Ecamm associated is my notes. I have my notes here, and I just want to make sure I cover everything so that you're able to see. All right, so now let's take a look at the back end of my Ecamm here so you can see this. So let's get rid of the notes. Imagine the notes are gone. This is what my screen looks like, right? My desktop. This is the beginning of Ecamm. One of the great things that I love about Ecamm, as I've kind of said to you before, is the simplicity of pretty much a drag and drop kind of system in which if you want something, you just drag it onto the screen, maybe crop it, maybe zoom it in a little bit, and pretty much that's it. So one of the first things we're going to do is create a lower third. On the bottom, you will see someone's name down here or something like that. I'll show you one of the great ways of doing that. So I'm going to turn on my Pro mouse and show you over here. So as we look over here, we have this system that's called scenes, and then we have overlays, right? Really the only difference is think of it as a show. A scene is one part of the movie, then it flips to another room, and then it goes to the outside. That's a scene, right? The scene is in the kitchen, then the scene is in the living room, then the scene is outside. Okay, different locations in the same movie, right? Overlays are the things that are going to go on top of your video, right? Those little things that come flying into the scene and something like that, that's an overlay, right? So just to keep it simplistic for you. So the first thing I'm going to cover is maybe how to create a little placard or an overlay for your name. Over here in the overlay panel, all I'm going to do is come to the bottom right here, and I'm going to click on this button. When I do that, it's going to bring up this rectangle shape here, and then we can kind of change the color and do several things from that, which I'll kind of do here in a second. But some things I'm going to do in here just because it's natural for me, and we're not going to go too deep into it. But for an example here, I'm going to change the corners, and I'm going to make them square, right? We'll just get rid of that, make them square, and take the radius down to 0, okay? At this point, I'm also going to change the color just so we can maybe get a different color. But the great thing about this is by me doing this, I'm showing you just how simple and simplistic this is. I want to go maybe midnight. Yep, we'll keep that. I'll keep the shade just because we're, good to go. I now want this to come here because this is kind of where I want my name to be. So we're going to create a name. I'm going to put a text box in there. And again, I simply came over to the T, which stands for text, and then I'm going to place that in there. Since that's blue, we'll keep this at white, and let's see. And then again, I'm not going to go too much into the fonts and everything like that, but I want to maybe create the size a little bit bigger. And we click add, and now I simply drag that into there, okay? And let's maybe edit that a little bit more. No, that looks good. Okay. So also one of the great things about that, but here's the thing. Look how quick, simple, and easy that was for me to have created just that name section there for me, right? I can then at this point, I'm going to keep this text what we call dynamic. And dynamic simply means this, right? I can make this bigger, smaller just by simply dragging it and up and down, left to right. Okay. I'll show you some of the other text features means in a second. But with this box, I can also now at this point make this longer if I wanted the name to go all the way across, for example. And my whole point of this again is to show you how easy this is just by simply maneuvering it. And in Ecamm, I just made a lower third for my name. There are several things you can do afterwards, but again, we're just keeping this simple. You know, let me get some of these things off the screen so you can see it better. So now you've created this, and you can put whatever company name, your show name, your presentation name, whatever down there at that point. So that's a very simple thing that we're covering is the name. Similarly, try saying that 3 times fast. You could do that. So let's go ahead and delete that, and we'll move to another one. Okay. You can keep those, but we'll delete it, or you can change it up. So now I want to maybe do something on the side, right? I want my presentation, but I want it to be on the side. So we're going to use the same kind of procedure and bring up this little thing here. Now it keeps the last color and the last shape that you decided to do, right? It remembers it in essence. So from here, let's say I want this to be on the side. So I'm just going to make it kind of like a little square, put it on the side, and just kind of eyeball it, right? So this is where I want, let's say, my presentations to come from there, right? At that point, I'm also going to now want to make some bullets. All right, so let's start this over again so you can see this. So I'm going to want to make some bullet points. I am going to go back into the text box. And after a while, you start to learn the shortcuts. All right. And I also want to give a big thanks out to Kat as well, because I watched her video and it's motivated me to kind of do something like this for my audience. Okay. So I'm going to go option 8 for Mac users. We know what that is. And it just brings up a bullet point over here. And from that, I'm just going to say, let's go lesson 1. Right. Oops. Put an explanation. I forgot to change that. Lesson 1. And I'm going to place that lesson 1 right here. Okay. There's a few different ways you can do this, but I'm going to then now make lesson 2. Or actually, you know what? Let's do all of those in the same one. So that way we don't have to worry about anything. So now I'm going to come here. I'm going to go option 8 and lesson 2. So that's what I'm going to be teaching on. And then make another bullet point and just say lesson 3, right? If I want all of them to be together. Okay, why? Okay, lesson 3. And look what it did. It automatically just updated it. And now I have those here. Okay. Again, we're just doing a simple thing. Now I have these titles on the side here in which I can then talk about. So I'm going to show you how to create that next scene with something like this. So let's say I am in my default scene here. Over here, I can add a new scene or I can duplicate a scene. And for right now, I'm just going to duplicate that. And look what happens. It brings up copy of default. And so I'm just going to name this one here lesson plan. Okay, so now I have a lesson plan. But it copied this, so I'm going to just go ahead and delete this out so that it's not here any longer, which gives you a better example of a scene. So here I am in the kitchen, and I'm doing a scene and I'm talking. Now, the camera from the movie cuts to the next scene, and simply by me pressing this scene here, it now goes to what you see here. So it brings up these items here, right? So let's say I want to give that some motion. I want to make it a little jazzed up. What I could do is I can come over here to where it says transition. Okay. And I want it to fly in from the left, right? Because that's left side of the screen. And I'm going to do the same thing for the numbers. Okay. Transition, fly in from the left. Okay. So I just created some motion with that. So now watch this time when I come back to my main scene, which is the kitchen. Oh, yeah, kitchen. Okay. So now I'm here. Watch how it does when I go into the living room. Okay, I press again the scene, and look, now it flies in, right? A little smoother or something else like that, which is really, really nice. Let's say if I want to add in something a little bit different as well, right? And I got this one idea again for Cat. Thank you so very much. I am going to now add in a separate box because I want to add in some color to the edge of this box to kind of make it more noticeable. Again, I come and get my shape. It remembers the last shape. And what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to actually, let's go make this red just so you can see a major difference. Okay. We'll be fine with that one for right now. All right. I want this to be very, very thin. And I'm going to kind of attach it to the side right there. But I want it to be thinner. So we'll get it really, really thin. Just a little bit, right? Maybe. Does that look good? That looks okay. All right, so now here's what I'm going to do. Again, if I don't add in motion to that one, it's going to be different. I'll let you see what it looks like. So here I am again in my first scene. By now you should understand, I click my scene. Now look what the red does. It just kind of appears. That's still fine. But what I want to do is I want to give it a transition, but this time I want it to fly in from the top. So they're going to kind of meet, right? Let's take a look at what that looks like now. Okay, we're in my first scene again in the kitchen. We go to the next scene and look now, right? So now they meet in Ecamm, no third parties, apps or anything. Everything is being done in here. And again, you can make the size, whatever size, easier for you, and you can adjust it from that point there, right? Pretty safe to say this is fairly easy. And remember, let's see if I can get it live. Happens. All right. So we cut the sidebar animation, full page overlay. I love this. Let me come back to the first scene. I first learned this, I think, from Anna and Fulgens, who are great in the Ecamm community. And then so a few other people do it. And I've even done it in a couple of mine. So let's look at this full page animation. All right. So we're going to stay with this scene here just because easier. I can duplicate it. I can make another scene, but we're just going to stay with this one here. So what should I do if I want to bring up a overlay shape? Yep, I come right over here to the almost like Dora Explorer, right? She's waiting. What should I do? Okay, I go over here. I make that shape. Again, it remembers the last shape. Now, what I want to do, and I'm going to change this to, let's do yellow just so it makes it limon. And you're about to see a really great feature I love in Ecamm, right? So I'm going to take this up to my corner here. And I want this overlay to come full page, and it's going to cover it up. What I can do here is the opacity I can bring down, and then you start to see me come from behind, okay? Yellow, and we'll do it just for this right here. So now, a very simple thing is maybe I want this to be my welcome scene. So I'm going to come here and I'm just going to give it a welcome to the meeting, right? And you can adjust from there, or you can keep it just like that. Can make it bigger. This is my welcome to the meeting scene. So actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do this. Yep, let me make another scene really quick. Perfect. And then get that correct camera, move that above. And a great point that this just showed, right, is that by me changing my mind and wanting to do something different, it was just by a click of a button and I brought up a whole new thing. Okay. So the reason why I want to show you that is because maybe I'm here and this is my beginning scene, and then I go here. hi, welcome, or reverse. Maybe this is the welcome screen when we go live, and then it goes to here. Yes. So another nice thing about that, since you saw the simplicity of making that scene just like that, we are going to duplicate that scene. Okay. So I come back here. I want to keep everything the same. I'm going to come here and duplicate that scene. So now I have two. Again, I have the copy. So I'm just going to name this motion intro. Okay. Motion intro. Reason why I'm saying that is because here I want to give both of these that transition like we did before. But this time, when I go to the transition, okay, I want it to fly in from the top. And again, I'm going to do the same thing for the words, okay, so that they match up, fly in from the top. So now watch the difference. So let's say I am here on my natural screen. Then I go welcome and look. Then it comes down. Okay. So now you're able to create whatever you would like to make this happen. And another great thing like about that, let me make sure overlay transition. Okay. So another great thing with this as well is let's say you want to change the coloring a little bit. Over here in the blend mode, you can try a few different things. And I'm not going to go through them all because there's several. But let's say if I want to darken, I use darken. Okay. And now it still has the yellow overlay, but it just darkened it a little bit, right? Maybe I want to multiply. And some of these you may not notice as much, um, but I'll show you a very noticeable one, okay? So let's go with lighten. So now it's still that same color, same opacity, but it just lightened it. Let's try a few more. Screen. I'm going to go color dodge. One of my favorites is coming up here. I'll show you guys. Okay. So with this overlay, look at the yellow tint. It made it just a little bit more. And again, even from this here, you can then adjust the opacity of that tint. And you're like, oh no, that's just way too much. Okay. Soft light, but like a pen light, right? So it's doing a lot of different things that you can adjust. Here's a difference. Like, okay, that's kind of cool actually. I kind of like that, right? So it shows me in the background. I'm still able to say, hey, welcome to the meeting. And then we can go right into, hey, the meeting started. Here's the lesson plan. 3 things that we're going to cover today. We're going to cover A, B, and C, right? So now, and I can continue doing that to make it from the 3 things that they see we're going to cover, the next scene would just be lesson 1. Now let's talk about lesson 1. So you have things on the screen with you, okay? So in closing, let's come back here. Oh, let me go back to the main scene, right? In closing, uh, I wanted to show you the simplicity of what you can do from a beginner's point of view in Ecamm if you wanted to create something for your audience, for your presentation, for your keynote, for your Canva presentation, whatever it is, you can create some of those things that easily in Ecamm. It's absolutely lovely. I just can't explain it enough. If you have questions, make sure you put them in the comments because live happens. My matching shirt and cup. Thank you, Ecamm. Make sure you put them inside the comments. And I'm absolutely loving the comments, loving the questions that people are starting to see how they can incorporate Ecamm into their system. Make sure you check my last 2 videos I did of how to use Ecamm into Keynote and then how to use Ecamm in Canva or how to use Canva in Ecamm. You get it, right? And let me know if you have any other questions, lion@lionfly.com. Check out the YouTube tutorials. We always have them as well, in which we go into more depth into teaching some of these things in some advanced ways as well. Hey, I appreciate each and every one of you for coming. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.